And this is a session with powerful women. I would say, wow, we have all the women on the stage now, and they are going to talk about blockchain technology as a backbone of tomorrow's smart cities. To be honest, I am a software engineer myself. I'm a technology person, and people just get a wrong perception about ladies. They say, why are you ladies in the IT? They couldn't believe. And now we are showing you, we have powerful women on the stage talking about blockchain. Let me introduce the moderator and the panelists. All right, first we have Jasmine, who currently holds the position of Deputy CEO of Regolf Tech and the founder of a women-led and focused financial services called Wahina Capital. Right. And next we have Ivy Fong, who is the Vice President of Women in Blockchain Asia. She is a trainer specializing in blockchain, the technology that supports cryptocurrencies and NFT. And last but not least, Elizabeth, where she has shared some of her opinion this afternoon about blockchain, and now she is going to facilitate this session. All right, let me pass the floor to Elizabeth. Elizabeth, it's yours.
Yes, thank you, Angela. Thank you, Angela. And yes, hi to all the ladies here.
Hello.
Ivy, I just had what they call that a session, with Ivy recently. And Jasmine, I hope to be able to catch up with you soon, one day. Yeah. So I'm so proud that today we have all the women in blockchain.
Yeah. Now it's all ladies sessions.
Yes, correct. Okay. All right. Dr. Daniel, I'm sorry. You just be a listener. Okay. Okay. Now, I think our topic today is quite big. It is about blockchain being the backbone for tomorrow's smart cities, right? So I went online to check, wow, smart city. What is the definition of smart city? So apparently there is like so many definitions, but of course, it is, it's about the application and adoption of technologies, all sorts of technologies in the city planning, the living of the cities, and so on, right? So now I maybe you ladies can share a bit with us. What do you think is going to be the what is future smart city? What do you think it consists of before we even go into blockchain? Because I think with your background, at least we talk about the overall technologies first. What make up a smart cities first? Okay. Maybe Jasmine, you would like to share with us your idea of future smart cities.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Hi, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for having me on this panel this evening. So happy to be here to just share some thoughts and have a conversation with regards to how blockchain can power up the next generation smart city. When you type smart city, I don't think you can avoid Dubai's ambition on being a smart city, and also Saudi's ambition in NEOM. And there are so many people pushing for the smart city agenda within their respective countries right now. Malaysia is also not far behind in terms of wanting our own smart city from the KL Smart City projects as well. Now, what is a smart city to me? It would be something that is completely digital. I guess if we are all sci-fi fans, you would have flying cars, cities with fantastic skyscraper where there is no more an issue with parking, but parking is such a nightmare in KL sometimes, where you just fly straight into, well, not straight in, but park right next to your apartment. You step off your airborne vehicle and just go into your hall or for your event, and valet is a completely different thing. You don't even need valet parking because everything is on drone power, so you can just instruct your vehicle to park itself in the next by building, and identity won't be an issue. You have identity via biometric in recognition, and so your face your fingerprints, everything about you would already be recognized, and you would have the appropriate access into whatever facilities. Now, beyond that, of course, the smart city is a green city. And we would like to think that this is a city that can generate its own carbon credit versus consuming more carbon and things like this. So a little bit about my idea of a smart city. Back to you, Elizabeth.
Wow, it sound really, sound like a city that I like to live in. Really, I'm a sci-fi fan, by the way. I like to see like moving, flying cars, flying homes. In fact, I remember years ago, I think like maybe 8 years ago, I was sharing something on stage to say that, oh, in the future, our home is not permanent. Our home is like mobile. So what is permanent is email address. So a lot of people say, no, how can that be? But I think it's coming to be true, right? So maybe to you, what is your ideology of a future smart city?
Okay, thank you, Elizabeth, and thank you, Proptech Malaysia, for having me here to share a little bit of what I think about smart city. Now, I like to play with words, so I would like to start to talk about the word smart. So when we talk about smart, let's put the smart word in front of people. When we talk about smart people, we expect the person to know about something, and not only that, to be able to make some decisions based on whatever the person knows. So that's why we have the word street smart. Now, when we talk about put this smart in front of a device, we expect the device to know to make some decisions to react to something when a certain criteria is being met. So when we talk about smart home, to my definitions, we are not talking about that like using our mobile phone and to control our aircon or whatever devices from our mobile, but the device, for example, like aircon, do know when to adjust the temperature by itself. So this is like smart device to me. Of course, when we apply it to a city, the infrastructure need to be smart enough to be adjusted to the needs of the people who stay inside. And talking about that, how it applies, how it responds to it, it depends a lot on the information being put in the city, all the building and all this. Just like, we teach a human being from young so that the person can grow up as a smart person, and the code that will be put inside a device is so that the device know how to respond. So I do think in my definition, a smart city need to be a city that do not need any human interventions anymore. Once how it should act to the best of the benefits of the human has been set up. So that is the smart city to me for the future.
Right. Wow. The way Ivy described her vision of a smart city is like a giant living cell. Like it's like a organic coming into life. The city coming into life. Yeah. Of course. Blockchain is not the only technology we are talking about here, right? So we are utilizing AI, IoT, everything that is available now. Okay, but since our topic we are talking about blockchain being the backbone, so I would like you ladies to share with us, like, of course, the city is made up of so many components, planning and so on. But which area of a smart city do you think that blockchain is necessary? For example, maybe Jasmine, would you like to share with us which area of a city's planning or living or what?
So blockchain as a technology, I'm a blockchain evangelist, and blockchain has found a new sexy word called Web3, and it's just progressed on to more things, and now there are more applications on the Web3. And one of my latest project, my bit, is talking about self-sovereign digital identity on the Web3 platform, where you have full control over your own ID, meaning today it is not just Google and Facebook, Apple, and all the big tech boys that have control over your identity. You control your own identity. Now, that's one of the precursors for a smart city, because with self-sovereign identity, you can fully launch into a e-government service. And that is something that some countries have started adopting. Now, the thing about blockchain is because it is a distributed ledger technology from a form of a database. Now, this database means that you no longer have to use a trusted intermediary to do transactions, to do a lot of things. Now, for the government services, what it means that you can now directly transact with your government without the need of a third party verifying you as somebody who's worthy, somebody who is credit positive, and things like this. Now, what does that mean? It means productivity is greatly enhanced. Now, why is a blockchain database necessary to do this? Simply because blockchain databases have a natural DNA encryption on its own. And this is where I guess some of the word of cryptocurrency comes on, because it is sitting on a blockchain database that has a hashtag Merkle tree encryption standard on every single transaction. Now, that reduces immediately the cost of compliance when you do transaction. What does that mean? When you have a fully e-government city, e-government services, first thing is Estonia has already proved it. Every year, they save thousands of hours of productivity. Now, imagine you have thousands of hours of freer time because you no longer have to line up in a government office to get your passport, to update your IC, for voting. We recently went to the polls. There were reports of voters having to stand in line for up to 5 hours just to cast their vote. Now, imagine a time in a city where to cast a vote is as simply as biometrically logging into your mobile or smart devices and casting your vote of choice. No need to brave potential COVID exposure, no need to be concerned about weather condition and things like this. And then you can carry on the rest of the day without having to go and wait 5 hours. You could have gone grocery shopping, you could have contributed to more restaurant income.
Okay, so Jasmine, can I just ask a question here? Because from our knowledge, the use of blockchain also means actually it's like what it requires high consumption of electricity for what verification and so on. So if the entire smart city is powered by blockchain, so will that means that the consumption of electricity is going to be like super high? So how are we going to negate that? I don't know. This is technical. I'm just wondering.
It's a wonderful question, Elizabeth. And it's a question that has plagued the blockchain community for a very long time. The very first blockchain, the Bitcoin blockchain that was first brought on in 2009 was running on a consensus that we call proof of work. Now, what is proof of work? Proof of work is pure digital brute force of recording a transaction on the blockchain. Now, the blockchain industry has since evolved from that to proof of stake. So new mechanism consensus has come in, proof of importance. There's many more Byzantine fault consensus and all this. A lot of this do not even consume a fraction of what used to be. So the old thinking of the old blockchain where, you have all these mines that is sucking up electricity, working on confirming transaction because it's hard work, is actually what we call old-fashioned blockchain already. Even though blockchain
that is 1.0. That was 1.0
Yes.
probably, right?
Correct,
Okay.
correct.
So now Jasmine has elaborated a lot on like how to use blockchain for e-government. Now, Ivy, what about like the commercial sector, the private sectors, you know, in a smart city? So where do you see like blockchain, which area of our you know commercial area where you think in a city that we can use blockchain for?
I do think that it might sound a bit like rhetorical or whatever, but I do concur with Jasmine, and my answer is still the same, that like, you know, the ID is something that like, it doesn't really matter it's going to be in the government or it's going to be used in the private. The ID part, I do think that in terms of a smart city is something that like is very important. Now, let me explain a little bit why. Now, a blockchain generally is transactions after a transaction. And to have these transactions being valid, you need to generate necessary informations, and all these informations need to be signed by a private key. And the private key have a public key, and they make up an account, and that is considered as an ID. So no matter how you use the blockchain, that ID need to be there. Whether one person have a specific ID or one person have many ID, that is depends how you want to use blockchain, you know, in whatever system that like, you know, you want to use, whether for government or whether for public. Now, whatever blockchain that like we are using, especially for the cryptocurrency, is generated on the public blockchain. So there is no limit saying that like a person must have an address, but that address or that private key that you hold is still represent you person to say. So no matter what you're going to use, I do think that is the first very important one. Now, without that, you won't be able to create your token. You won't be able to move your tokens. You won't be able to authenticate whatever information that like you put on the blockchain. So that would be something that to start with. And that is something that like, you know, a new user or people already in this space to learn how to protect it and how to use it properly. When I do believe when blockchains come to a more mature, it has been quite mature as compared to like, you know, just a few years ago. But as we go on to be more mature, I do think that like this is something that is fundamental, and everybody need to get to understand, you know, how important it is. It is the time that you do not depends on a central authority to protect your identity. You need to protect your identity. You need to create your own identity. Like how you're going to build up your profile, how you're going to build up your history, all this thing is going to be traced in the blockchain. Now, even if there is, there are some digital ID that is like, you know, available in the market, or the government is already using it, might not be using on the blockchain. But moving forward, I do believe that they will think of like moving to blockchain because of this reason.
Okay,
yeah.
So we are still talking about like government level, but I remember the other day, when I was having tea with Ivy, you know, and we talk about this concept called, you know, are you having a solution at hand and trying to look for the problem to match it? So my question is, you know, like we keep talking about the pros, you know, wow, blockchain is great, we know we should have a smart city, but is it like a must? Is it necessary to have blockchain in a city before it is called a smart city, for example? Is it a must? So I like to throw that, maybe not, I let Jasmine to talk about this first, like the cons, you know?
Well, blockchain is not a technology looking for a problem to solve, not anymore. Okay.
Oh,
From
all right.
It used to be maybe in the earlier days back in 2013, 2014, before the advent of a smart contract and the proliferation, the big use of smart contract, not just in government services, but in the ease of doing business. Today, to do business, you need a lot of middlemen because there is this item called trust. If you don't trust your counterparty, this is the first time you're doing a transaction with a counterparty, you need somebody who is a middleman that will help you bridge the relationship, so to speak. But with blockchain, with Web3, that is no longer necessary. So from the point of view of doing commerce, of doing business, you no longer have to trust your counterparty, but you must understand the smart contract that you are agreeing to. As Ivy was saying, you know, with your wallet, with your own private key, you are authorizing certain things out of your own digital bank account, let's say. Because your entire bank account, your money is safe, it's guarded on a blockchain-based technology database. So you don't worry about double spending. The only time fraud is going to happen is when you leave your PIN all over the place and people have access to your bank account. So beyond that, that is not necessary. Now, is a smart city going to be called a smart city because they have blockchain solution? I would dare to say, if you don't have a blockchain solution underpinning a lot of your digital transactions for a smart city, the smart city cannot be very long because there will be fraud with a lot of cybersecurity issue. I'm not saying just because you deploy a blockchain, you won't have any cybersecurity issue. I'm saying that the cost of compliance and the cost of security will be greatly reduced. One of the first things that you're going to be able to manage is internal collusion. Because you cannot simply change a transaction on a blockchain database without a record being permanently kept. So as an administrator of a system, I am totally disincentivized to do anything on a city record or any form of transaction record, knowing that it's not a question of if, it's a question of when somebody will find out about this transaction. So yes, to me, if you want to run a smart city that is going to be cost effective, longer lasting, you would need to consider seriously deploying the blockchain as a whole.
Okay. In fact, you know, while Jasmine was talking about this, you know what came to my mind? CITOS record. Do you know that CITOS record, they will only add on, they will never delete any record. So if you look at a person's track record, you can see record from the 80s, you know, 80s until today. So you will know whether the person has been sued by any bank, you know, for any there was any court case or not, any like trade references and so on. So it's a bit like how the concept of blockchain, and also you would think twice or three times before you want to commit any wrongdoing, because it is forever there, you know. So now, Ivy, what about you? Because I understand when I ask you about certain potential project, you always ask me, hey, think again. Is it like you must have blockchain for it? Then what about smart city? Is it a must to you, or what is your thought on this?
Good questions. I always ask this question, like you mentioned. It sounds like, you know, I don't believe in blockchain, but why I am still here? I'm still here for so many years. I'm still advocating for blockchain. I'm still teaching about blockchain. There must be a reason why. Now, why I say that is, and why the questions that you answered just now, that like, is it a solution looking for problem? Now, not only blockchain, in my opinion, a technology is founded, either they already have a problem that like they want to solve, so they try to find a way to solve that issue, or somebody see quite very far apart that this issue could happen, and we want to look that he start to go and like he or she start to look for the solution. So at a certain point of time, it might look like, you know, are we ready for this kind of technology? But the time will come. And for blockchain, why I do think that like in certain time, I still think that like, you know, a solution fighting for problem is because Is the technology not ready? I do think that like the technology is ready, but is the human ready to adopt it? That is why that is what that I'm concerning about. Now, why I start by explaining about the smart, the word smart at the beginning, and of all, being smart means that like, you kind of get rid of a certain intermediary. That means that like you don't go through, like a smart person, you don't have to go through like, you know, to check your father or mother every time that like, you know, you want to make decision. You know what you need to do, what you don't need to do. If it's like we said, like, you know, it's a smart kid or smart street smart kid kind of thing. And we talk about our devices, like explained now, you don't need the human to control it. But we come to like, you know, the whole smart city, the city that are governed by itself, whatever that like have been put in place. Are the human ready to accept it? That is something that like, I'm actually wondering about. So when we talk about like, you know, we have a problem. We want to use blockchain. Are you really want to use blockchain because it's a buzzword? It's a word that like you put into your pitch and you're going to get a VC? Or really the people is going to use it? Your target user is really to like ready to adopt it. So I think that like, you know, technology will always change. It's always going to be more advanced. But somehow human being always have that kind of like, you know, doesn't seem to change much. So yeah, if you ask me again, I do think that like, you know, it's still going to be the same problem.
You know, like smart contract. No, people always say smart contract is dumb. Because the smart contract is actually dumb, you know, because you already, you know, program it. It cannot think by itself. So it's true, you know, like if we make a city so smart, that means it's automated, right? The city think by itself, the system think by itself. Are we going to make human being dumber by thinking less? This is another question, you know, that we probably need to think of. Okay, but anyway, we are all here. We are strong a supporter and advocate of blockchain. You know, for myself, from day one when I learned about blockchain, you know, I really believe that is one of the future. So actually, I would like our ladies to share with us some of the successful cases of smart city. Like Jasmine was mentioning about Dubai just now. You know what? I remember in 2018, I actually flew all the way to Dubai to attend a Dubai Smart Cities conference, because I want to see how they are transforming Dubai into a fully blockchain cities. So Jasmine, any good examples that you want to share with us, you know, how cities in the world has transformed by using blockchain?
Okay, so in terms of a city that has fully transformed because of a blockchain, I believe the closest that has come through are two. One started before the blockchain revolution really took off. The other one took on because of the blockchain revolution. One is Estonia. And they do use distributed ledger technology database. This predates the popularity of blockchain. Blockchain, while we say it's new, the technology is actually in existence since World War II. People may not realize it, but it exists in bits and pieces since World War II. So Estonia was one of them. And they fully deployed it out on all their government services. And as a poster child for digital transformation of government services, digitizing government services, Estonia would be that poster boy. And this is a country that within 20 years of fully digitizing its e-government services, it has increased its GDP from $500 a year to almost $5,000 a year. We're talking about that kind of right? Imagine within one lifetime, your country's prosperity just skyrockets on a very consistent basis. And what will that do to your citizenry and all that? And like you said, Elizabeth, technology makes it so that we don't think of what we used to think about. So it doesn't make us dumber. Actually, it gives us a type of intelligence. So now you have to figure out what are the machines doing. And if you're trying to outsmart the machine as a criminal, you got to think more, right? Or if you're trying to circumvent certain processes that you don't quite like, it's a different set of intelligence that we're talking about now, with a fully digital nation. The other country that has also gone fairly digital is the Zug crypto village in Switzerland. So they are one of the first few to adopt crypto payments as a modality. They don't necessarily just accept Bitcoin, they also accept Ethereum and so on and so forth. They've experimented with different types of things. And while Switzerland has always been a prosperous country, Zug has become a space for experiment, and many new and interesting things happens there. So these are the two cities that I can quote.
Is that is that the place where we call it Crypto Valley? Is it?
Zug, yeah, Zug Valley.
Oh, Zug is all right. Okay. Okay. So, what about Ivy? Which city do you think has transformed, digitally because of blockchain, or they have successfully implemented blockchain?
I don't have an answer, reason being, okay. Estonia is always the one that, people is going to talk about. No doubt that, we have a long history of that. I do think that, they have fairly good in terms of doing that. But coming back to a bit more on the technical side of it, when it comes to governance, especially and all this, right? Government tend to want to use a private chain. And private chains, right, it means that they are only accessible to a certain people, which makes sense because it's a government that it should be accessible by your citizen or PR or people who are staying there for a period of time or anything. So how exactly it's being used and how efficient, I could only tell by whatever information is up there. So judging from that, yes, I do think that they are quite successful. But then one thing that I always question is when they come to talking about the e-voting for Estonia, I do wonder that what protocol they use, how they can be able to kind of make sure that they do not know who votes for who. Right?
Sorry, please.
So this is something that if I'm a voter, I'm going to vote through a blockchain. This is something that I'm very concerned about. Even though yes, there is way to do it to protect you as a voter to know who you vote for. But because it is not that public, I can't really scrutinize it that whether it is true. So that's something that it have been
so
keep on
you're saying that you can still cheat.
I'm not saying that cheating. I'm saying that the protections, the anonymity, the anonymity.
Oh,
yes.
right.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
So if just to touch on what Ivy says, because I am a very passionate person about blockchain. Now all that is happening on the blockchain is not anonymous, it's pseudonymous. And open blockchain means you cannot hide. It's just a question of time when people find out. And that's why, with the FTX fiasco, people say, the funds are moving because you can see it on the blockchain. It's open, so to speak. If you know what you're looking for, you can find it. So there is a fairly new, I won't call it new, but this is something that has been talked about. It's called zero proof knowledge. So this is a technology that is deployed on the blockchain, where as a voter, you're supposed to be protected of your confidentiality, where whoever you vote, your vote is supposed to be a secret, right? And zero proof knowledge ensures that. And with zero proof knowledge on the blockchain, it means that you as a legitimate voter, because you are already verified on the chain as a legitimate voter, can go on to action your vote without how you vote be known to anybody else except yourself. So blockchain as a technology is constantly growing. It is not stagnant. Wherever there are new issues that are being brought up because there are new use cases that is being done, the researchers, the technologists, all the very clever people, they come up with solutions to take care of all these things. It sounds technical, but actually it's very, very neatly, man, like just protects your confidentiality. That's all.
Ladies, at one time, I was so tempted to apply for the e-citizenship of Estonia. I was so tempted, but I somehow I didn't get on to
What stopped you?
Yeah, what stopped you?
Got busy, I got busy, then I didn't do it, Yeah. Oh, anyway, now I look at the questions from audience. Looks like there's no question yet coming from our audience.
There is.
Anyone?
There's two, Elizabeth. There's two questions.
There are two.
Where is
on
it?
Q&A button.
On the Q&A button.
Where is it? Oh my God. How come I can't find it? Where is the Q&A button?
You will see.
Can someone help me? I'm at the chat.
No, it's not in the chat.
Not in the chat. Oh, not in the chat.
Next to the chat.
It's supposed to be up next to your
Q&A.
raised hand
Oh,
button.
yeah. Sorry. Okay, right. Wow, someone, anonymous attendee. All right. He's trying to protect his identity. So the question is, today, there are quite a number of blockchain platforms in the market, i.e. asset tokenization platform, and to ensure the platform is legal to be operated in Malaysia. What do you think the Malaysia authority legalize this so that Malaysian investor can feel safe to invest? Can license be obtained from LFSA Labuan to operate in Malaysia? All right. Who of you would like to take this question? This is talking about STO, I think, security token offering,
Yes.
I think.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, Jasmine, do you want to?
Yeah,
I can,
It's
I
asking
can.
whether it's legal to do that. I think
Okay.
they're looking at that.
Let me just make this categorically very clear. Our Malaysian regulators are actually quite forward-thinking. So as a country, we already have 4 licensed digital asset exchanges, right? We have Luno, we have Tokenized, Synergy, and MX Global. These are the 4. Now, onshore within the Securities Commission, they also have issued the initial equity offering operator. Yes. So this is similar to your STO, right? And there are already 2 licenses granted. They will be operationalized, hopefully, fingers crossed, sometime next year. So then Malaysian businesses who wants to fundraise via IEO listing can go through these 2 entities when they launch, right? Now, in terms of Labuan, yes, you can obtain license out of Labuan, but remember Labuan is purely offshore. You cannot source for investors from within Malaysia. So for the Labuan license, it's mainly for international investors. And yes, Labuan has a series of licenses that you can obtain that will allow you to legitimately issue out digital token as a form of investment, IEO, STO type offering. I hope that answers.
Right. Because in our earlier sessions, I think we had the similar questions, whether is it legal in Malaysia, and someone actually asked a question, is blockchain legal in Malaysia? So is it, blockchain has never been illegal. Okay, thank you very much, Jasmine, for clarifying this. So okay, next question is okay, FTX related. All right, blockchain technology and cryptocurrencies are interrelated. How have the recent events around FTX, SBF, and Alameda have damaged the industry? And what do you think will happen next?
Okay, Ivy, you start. I got big opinion about this. So you
okay,
better start.
scandal. Okay, is it going to damage or slow it down or give it a bad note or what?
I wish I know what is going to happen next. I wish I know. I checked with my crystal ball. It hasn't told me anything yet. Okay. It damaged the industry. It's definitely slow it down. But if you ask, of course, now we have been talking among each other. If you ask most people who have been in the industry for a while, most people would say that I know something similar is going to happen again. It's going to happen again. Now, things like this is not new. It's not new to crypto, and it's not new to the financial markets. It happened in traditional finance as well.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I cannot tell you what is going to happen next, but I'm pretty sure it's going to happen again. Which is whether it's a bad thing, not entirely bad. I would say that, like, it served as a lesson, but too bad it affect a lot of people, but it served as a lesson to me. Yeah.
So I guess every investment has its risks. I think investor will need to conduct due diligence, whether it's conventional investment, crypto investment, or property investment, right? So I think that is the fundamental duties of an investor. You can't blame exchanges or even a stock exchange. Sometimes you lose money, investing in stock, right? So now we have only actually our time is up. Any last word from the ladies?
I need to comment on the FTX thing.
Yes, please.
Because I'm very passionate about it. FTX happened because there were bad actors and there were no governance. And why does FTX need governance? Because FTX is a centralized exchange. If you have a fully decentralized asset exchange, you ask the blockchain purists, they will say that the community will be the governance, because when an exchange is fully decentralized, everything is seen by the entire community. There's no hiding. But because FTX is a centralized exchange, so governance is necessary because they're hiding. They can hide. So having said that, that's just my last word. And so, yes, we need to govern centralized exchanges, but fully decentralized exchanges is a totally different animal. I'm not too sure if a governance would be necessary in those scenarios, but that's just me. Okay.
All right. Okay. So with that, a big thank you to our ladies in blockchain. I really hope that one day, let's catch up and we have a lot of blockchain related topics that we can talk about.